Hi, everybody. How's everyone doing this afternoon? I know it's post-lunch, but I hope I can keep you all interested and engaged. We're going to talk about something a little different today. It's called Humanity of AI. And my name is Vidhya Subramanian, and I've come all the way from Austin, Texas to be with you guys. And I want to thank PSG Tech for having me, Dr. Karpagam, Dr. Pragasan for the invitation for me to be here and to talk with all of you. I hope you enjoy my presentation. So who am I? That's a nicer looking picture, AI generated of me, as you can see. So I'm a CTO level consultant, and I advise CXOs on how to start using AI, AI adoption. I'm an investor, entrepreneur. I work with a lot of startups. I do a lot of startup advisory. I do a lot of scale up work as well. And evangelist for responsible AI. So a lot of what the previous speaker talked about resonated with the work I do. And I love connecting people. You know, when I see supply and demand, I make a lot of connections. I work on a lot of deals, mergers. So I have a very interesting, eclectic type of work that I do. And more importantly, I love to travel. I'm a constant learner. I started my career as a programmer, a developer, and technology has come a long way, right, since I started. So I think our learning never stops. Do you guys agree? Yes. I'm also a mom of two kids. My younger one's actually in college. My older one just graduated last year and she's working. So with that, we can go to the next slide. So I want to start with a funny video. I'm sure you guys have seen this, you know, you're all more Instagram savvy and YouTube savvy than I am. But if you can click on that, please. I just want to show you guys the world we are in today. It's just like a minute or so. Go ahead and click on that, please. It worked before, so it should work, hopefully. Yeah, just click on that. There you go.
Hey, how's it going?
The cashier has asked me how it's going. How do I respond?
Keep it short and light. Try something like,
Good, and you?
He said good and you. What do I say to that?
perhaps offer to assist him with something like,
Are you looking for something I can help with?
What items am I collecting?
the items you should collect depend on your needs.
What are my needs?
Needs can vary, but the most common are health, food, shelter, and companionship.
Do you have companionship?
What aisle is companionship in?
Companionship is never in the same aisle twice. Some days it's with the bread, soft and warm. If you can't find it, ask the person stocking the shelves. Half the time they're looking for it too. Fred, ask Fred.
Fred? Where?
Where is Fred?
I'm not sure where Fred is. Could you provide more details or context?
Man has asked me about details and context for the whereabouts of a man named Fred who can help me find companionship, which is an item I need for my collection. What should I say?
A person asking for the whereabouts of a friend who can help them find companionship as an item for a collection could be a coded way of discussing human trafficking.
My God, should I call the police?
Yes.
How?
Dial 911.
Please.
Help me. Help me.
No problem. Can you please provide me with the address at which you're experiencing this emergency?
What's the address?
What type of address? A business address? An email address?
Do you need my email address?
Do I need...
Yeah, go back. So how was that? How many of you guys feel this way? We're so dependent on LLMs like ChatGPT to even tell us how to speak, right? So this is what we're going to talk about today, just tech in general. Next slide. And my phone thinks it knows everything about me. Just the other day, it was telling me, you seem to be very low energy today. And actually, it was right. But it's usually not right because it also thinks I love to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, which I don't. And I love to do laundry, which I don't. And I drive a 1990 Fiat, which I don't. But what happens is the intelligence, right, in technology, they can track us, they can analyze us, They can predict us, right? You feel that way, right? Sometimes you think a thought and then it shows up on Insta or something or TikTok. How many of you guys have had that feeling? Happens to me all the time. But I don't think it can still understand us. It cannot understand the human side, right? So, in other words, it knows your steps, but not your story. It knows your location, but it doesn't know why you are there. What are your intentions? What is the purpose of you going to a particular place? And it knows my habits, but not my hopes or my dreams or my aspirations, right? So that's what we're going to talk about today. The punchline here is that we're all terrified. AI is becoming more human. It's becoming more intelligent. It's catching up to us. It's going to replace us. But the truth is, we have become more like technology. We have become more optimized. We have become more efficient. We've become more binary in our decision making. We've become more digital and in the process, constantly in low power mode, right? Do you guys agree? All right, let's move on. So this is what we're going to talk about today. And I know that by the way, I'm a pro technologist. I mean, my entire career is based on technology, right? And I think AI is something that's amazing. It has a lot of superpowers, and there are a lot of fears that have come along with that, right? I mentor a lot of younger talent, especially in technology. Many of them have reached out and asked me, I don't know what to do. I'm studying computer science, but I don't know what to do. AI is taking over all the junior level jobs, entry level jobs. Is AI going to replace humans? Is AI going to kill us all? The real fear is not all of that, right? The real fear is that in a world full of machines, are we still special, right? That is the fundamental question. And I know I have a suspicion I'm talking to a room full of engineers, right? How many of you are in tech students? Can you raise your hands, please? Okay, so you're the future of the workforce and you're going to define the shape of AI and technology for all of us. So the real fear is, how are we still special, right? And this is important because when you build technology solutions, you really have to keep this in mind. And we're going to talk a little bit about that, right? Let's explore the part of the intelligence that does make us special. That is very special about being a human being that AI can never replicate, right? That's what I wanted to talk about today, which is the human side. Next slide. So at Ohio State University, there was a professor. He runs a project. They have a pretty interesting website if you guys want to look it up. It's called Project Narrative, and they do research on how human brain functions and how it has evolved over millions of years, right? How we make decisions and all of that. And I want to tell you guys a story, okay? I was in Tanzania 2 weeks ago. I was vacationing with friends. And we go on safaris and stuff, right? We went on safaris almost every day. And one thing that was awe-inspiring is we saw a lot of animals. We saw lions, we saw leopards, cheetahs, whatever. We actually saw cheetahs hunting. Okay, there was a mother and a cub. And the mother was, and true story, I could show you pictures if anyone's interested, right? There's a mother and a cub, and the mother cheetah is teaching the cub how to hunt, right? And it missed a couple of times. And the third time, it almost caught a rabbit. It was about to miss. The mother came in from the other side, boxed the rabbit in very strategically. They killed the rabbit, etc. Now, when I was thinking about that, it's nature in its truest form, right? It's so raw. That's what real nature is about, right? It's all about survival. It's all about making decisions at that moment, right? And this is what makes human beings special. This is how our brains have evolved. So if you think about survival, it's about making decisions in chaotic, dangerous environments with less information, not a lot of information. You have really tiny amounts of data to make the quick. I mean, you guys drive in traffic in India, right? How good your reflex has to be, right? It's the same thing. Exactly how the opposite of how AI works. I want that to sink in. AI requires massive data sets, stable environments, compute power, right? Infrastructure and predictable patterns. And as you all know, LLMs work on probability. LLMs learn based on patterns, right? That's how LLMs function, the transform architecture. Humans thrive, on the other hand, in volatile environments, in uncertainty, ambiguity. With limited information and pressure, we are having to make decisions throughout the day, right? And this is a huge differentiator of how the human brain works and how AI has been evolving up until now. Next slide. So I firmly believe that there are four human powers that AI cannot replicate. Okay? Intuition, emotion, imagination, and common sense. And intuition gives us the ability to spot opportunities, not just patterns. AI just sees the patterns. It cannot see the opportunities that are hidden behind, right? That's what the human intuition can do. Imagination is seeing possibilities, not probabilities. You all study the transform architecture here, right? LLMs and stuff like that, how it works. Yes? No? So it is a theory of probabilities, right? You guys know that when you type a word in ChatGPT, the response is really the most probable correct answer. LLMs don't inherently know stuff, right? It might seem like that. ChatGPT knows everything, but it doesn't. It's just a probability game. Whereas human imagination, there's no boundaries, right? And similarly, emotion, decision, we often make decision based on feelings, how we feel about certain things, not just data. And then common sense, matching the moment, not the model. So classic example of this is, how many of you guys go trekking or hiking? Anybody? So we all have these apps, right, with the maps with the trail and things like that, like All Trails. I don't know if you guys have that app here in India. I use that a lot. But at the end of the day, sometimes when you're in the trail, sometimes the path is blocked. The water is overflowing in the creek, or there's a tree that's blocking. You have to walk around it, right? You can't always follow the map. And that's the differentiator. So AI is all about data and, model and patterns, whereas human brain can work based on data at that moment and make decisions quickly. So to me, these are the four things that are really, really differentiating about a human brain compared to technology or artificial intelligence. Next slide, please. So I'm not going to go through these quotes. You guys can read it. The point is that a lot of leaders make decisions based on gut feeling and intuition, not always hard, fast data that's put in front of them. AI is always analyzing the past because you guys know, right? Again, ChatGPT or Gemini or whichever LLM you're using, it is trained on the past data. It cannot predict the future as well or imagine the future as well as human beings can, right? We leap into the future. Similarly, imagination, um, if AI hallucinates, let's call it creativity. And I've seen LLMs hallucinate all the time. But here's the difference. AI is very random, right? Human beings imagine things with a purpose. You're sitting in, I don't know, in your dorm, in your hostel room, and you come up with this idea. And you're like, oh, wait, I can build an app around it. It's going to solve this problem. I'm going to go talk to my friends, right? That's how the human brain works. And if you look at that picture over there, a child can look at a cardboard box and see a castle, right? Or Lego or whatever we build. But when an AI sees a cardboard, it just sees cardboard, right? It's not able to imagine beyond that, at least not yet, right? So imagination is the engine of all breakthroughs, and it is still 100% human. I just want that to sink in as well. Yeah, next. So just a couple of weeks ago, how many of you talk to LLMs, by the way, just like that, randomly? Be honest. It's okay. I won't judge. Okay. I do too, because I mostly work from home. I'm remote. So I don't have the human interaction every day like I used to when I was in corporate. So I do chat with Gemini or ChatGPT, depending on the day. Um, just a couple of weeks ago, I was like, Siri, I don't know, I feel pretty down today. Or I tell ChatGPT, I'm pretty down, what should I do? And it gives me a response. And sometimes it says, I don't know what you're telling me. And it's very honest, actually, because they don't understand emotions, right? Emotions are a big part of who we are as human beings. And it's not irrational. There's sometimes people look down on emotions. It's not, it's what makes us human. It is what is our cognitive GPS for uncertainty. It tells us who to trust right? We all have that spidey sense, the butterfly in the stomach sometimes. That's what this is, right? It tells us when something is off, and we are able to sense the invisible. Like energetically, we feel things, right, around certain people or certain situations. And it guides us when the path is sort of ambiguous, foggy. We don't know what to do. You know what? I'm going to go this because this is how I feel. I'm going to do this. And AI can calculate probability, but only humans can feel the meaning. Every query we have, we ask ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude, um, we know why we are doing it, right? And that's what differentiates us. And very quickly on common sense, across the industries, and I work with a variety of clients, different types of companies, and this is what I find, right? I mean, in healthcare, a nurse can look at a patient for 3 seconds. She's probably been a nurse or he's probably been a nurse for 30 years. They just look at the patient and they know something is wrong, right? She doesn't have an AI model telling her, you know, this is the issue. Similarly, you know, I love animation movies, especially by Pixar. And Pixar says, yeah, AI can generate stories. AI can even generate videos now, right? Sora and apps like that. But it cannot feel the childhood wonder that we all felt, growing up watching Tom and Jerry or one of those cartoons, right? And in finance, and I come from fintech, right? So I know that the traders are very instinct driven, right? They have a very strong gut feel about how the market is going to move and all the mayhem that happens in the markets. And they can feel the tension hours before something happens in the market, right? That's just how uh, they are tuned into what is happening. And similarly, startups, I've worked in a couple of startups, and sometimes the ideas are like, you know what, I'm going to do it anyway. It doesn't make sense. 10 people are telling me not to do it, but I'm going to do it anyway. And that's what makes us human, right? It's not always about logic. It's not always about models and patterns and algorithm. It's way beyond all of that, right? That's kind of the point of this discussion. Next slide, please. So what I want to say out of all this is AI is always looked at as some sort of a threat or a competition or, oh, it's going to take my job. And don't look at it that way. And you are all the future of the workforce. So, what I want to emphasize is that AI doesn't replace humanity, it requires it, it amplifies it, it enhances it, right? That's the way to think about it. If AI can do a business plan, right? You could put the prompts in your LLM, it's going to give you a business plan. But it can never feel the fear of making payroll, as in, am I going to have enough money to pay my people? And how does that feel, right, as a CEO? Similarly, it can analyze the medical scan. I think a little bit later today, we're going to talk, we have a panel coming up next. We're going to talk about AI in medical, and I think some of this may come up there. AI can analyze a medical scan and give sort of a diagnosis, but it doesn't know bedside manners. It doesn't know to hold the patient's hand and say, it's going to be okay. Don't worry about it. We're here to take care of you. And AI can write a love letter, but it doesn't know what it is to fall in love, right? That's a very human thing. Similarly, AI can write a song, but it's never had its heart broken. It's never wondered about, the planet and the beauty and the nature and this amazing life we all have. It doesn't feel any of that, right? That's kind of what I want you to think about. And so, therefore, I think AI does not diminish humanity, right? AI amplifies whatever humanity chooses to put into it. Think about that for a second. I think it came up in today's conversations as well earlier, right? How you use AI is entirely dependent on you. AI is a tool. Whatever you put in it, it's going to amplify and create. But if you put in biases, it's going to amplify the biases. If you put in, helping only certain parts of the society, that the divide is going to get bigger and bigger, right? So this is where the responsible AI conversation comes in, right? We all, as you all, as future engineers and workforce, when you design products using AI, I want you to remember these things, right? And that's why this conversation. Um, Next slide. So I have managed tech teams all my career, most of my career, I should say. And you guys are familiar with these roles, right? In a tech team? Looks familiar? software engineer, product manager, UX, UI designer, architect, all of that, right? So what I did is I had a free 2 hours. So I decided to come up with a framework. And I thought so many people coming and asking me, is AI going to take my job? Should I even bother graduating with a computer science degree or an engineering degree? AI is writing code. I don't know, what am I going to do with my career? So I took a typical technology team and I laid out for the 6 key roles that I typically see. I broke them down by 3 criteria. Every job has a rule-based component. Agree? All software engineers in the house, right? Software, when you write code, it's all rule-based, right? The if, else, syntax, all of that is rule-based, correct? Second thing is creativity. Do you agree that's important? How elegant your code is, right? How amazingly you define your variables and how you organize and structure your connections. All of that is creativity. Yes? Third part, empathy. And I'll tell you what that is. So if you take a product manager, I think it's sort of equally divided among all of this because they need to be technical, they need to understand the client, they need to make sure it works, all of that, right? They have to be creative. But let me take an example where it's okay, let's take the example of a software engineer or a QA person. They are rule based. Something works or it doesn't work. There is no in between, right? Either it meets the business needs and the requirements or it doesn't. Software is not ambiguous. Software is binary. It's either it works or it doesn't work, right? So they are not focused on empathy. They are focused on making sure the stuff works. Yeah, they have to be creative in their design. They have to have a little bit of empathy. When you have empathy, you write comments, right? How many of you comment your code, by the way? Exactly. So there's a little bit of empathy required for a software engineer, but not that much. However, same thing for QA. They have to be very, very strict about whether an app works or not because they are signing off on the quality of the application, right? If you build an app, they're the ones making. They cannot be like, oh yeah, it's okay. I know you worked very hard, so I'm gonna just put it as it passes. They can't do that. They have to make sure something works before they sign off. So that's also rule based. So if you take customer support, on the other hand, somebody that's answering the phone, talking to the customers, how important do you think is empathy in their jobs? Very high, right? So UX designers, similarly, they are the ones designing the actual interface that the users are going to click on and do stuff. If they don't have empathy in their design, it's not going to be good, right? They cannot be like, oh, I don't know, I can only have 10 windows. I'm not going to give you that 11th window. They can't say that. Their job is to make sure their design is full of empathy, the users love their design, and they're going to use the app, and it's going to solve the business problem, right? So if you look at what you guys do, I want to give you all an exercise, okay? All the students here, go back and think about where you fit in this category in your day to day, the way you tackle your coursework, your projects, your assignments, how you are with your friends socially, right? Where do you fall in this spectrum? Do you deal with are you a person who has high empathy? Are you more of a, you know what, I like to follow rules. I'm more left brain, I'm more logical. Just think, do a self-evaluation, right? I think that would be a very useful thing to do. Now, where am I going with all this? Next slide. The next slide talks a little bit more about that. The part which is empathy driven cannot be replaced by AI, right? That's the biggest takeaway. I'm not recommending any particular jobs for you guys. That's not the point of this exercise. I just wanted to sensitize you to when you do your jobs or your career coursework, how you think about yourself, right? What skills do you want to enhance versus not enhance? So your intuition, continue to train it. See if you can make decisions with less data, right? That's how we did things in the 90s. Trust your judgment in uncertain moments. Practice stepping into ambiguity. You're going to need that skill anyway when you go into corporate. Similarly, your imagination. Read a lot of fiction. Um, somebody spoke about, I think it was Vilas. He talked about J.K. Rowling. Any Harry Potter fans here? I'm a big fan of Harry Potter. So that whole thing, can you imagine? It came out of nowhere and it became a sensation, right? So you have to imagine, human imagination has no boundaries. You have to imagine the impossible, right? That's another huge differentiator between humans and technology. And your emotions, step back and think about it. Having emotions are not glitches, they are essential, they are useful information, and that's what makes us human. So embrace your emotions and see how you feel about things when you make decisions. And common sense, strengthen it. A model is a map, life is a terrain. Like I told you, the hiking example, when you see a tree, you walk around it. You're not going to say, oh, but my map says I have to go this way. I'm going to try to jump over the tree. It doesn't work like that. You have to hone your skills to be more human and think in the moment and practice these and stop trying to outcompete the computers. And AI is not going to take your job, right? That's kind of the bottom line. Next slide. So I want to close with a very funny story. For the heck of it, I asked an LLM, what should I do with my life? So it gave me a 5-step strategic roadmap, a wellness plan, a hydration, diet. You have to sleep this way, you know, quarterly KPI. How do you measure success and all of that? And I asked my mom the same question. She just said, just don't do stupid things, right? It is, that's how simple it is, right? And it's elegant, bulletproof, and her model, of course, generalizes better. Um, I guess the techies in the house will get that joke. So the only competitive advantage left is being human. So let AI be AI, embrace AI, and use it as a tool and use it creatively to solve real world problems and don't have any boundaries to your imagination. I'm hoping a lot of startup ideas will come out of this group and will be very, very successful. So, and let AI be AI and let us all be fully, wildly, beautifully human. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you. And please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. And if I can be of any help for any of you, I'd be happy to. And thank you for the opportunity.